Good morning. This is May 17th, 2024. And I'm about to show you what I found out on the internet the other day, which is called a knock and talk. A knock and talk. This is when a policeman shows up at your house, or any law enforcement shows up to your house empty-handed. Like this policeman, and you're about to see a video of a young policeman being employed by the HOA manager and HOA board member Charlie Waters made a complaint against me. The police never went to Charlie Waters and took a statement. The policeman took Charlie Waters' phone call report of me harassing him, and they immediately came out to my house. No paperwork. Nothing in their hands. This is called a knock and talk. And I'm going to start it here. And the purpose of a knock and talk is to invade your privacy, to step on your civil rights. My civil rights got stepped on this morning. This morning of this interview, the cop came up to my house. Let's start it. Okay, this is the policeman walking up to my door with a camera and audio. Now, he doesn't know that I know he has a camera on him. So he's been sent out here by the police department, who are doing a favor to Charlie Waters, to find out where I'm...
Yeah, is Seward around?
Yeah, have you got a complaint on me?
I did.
For what?
There's a gentleman that says that you're harassing.
Okay, is there a complaint on me? Yeah, there is. Okay. Do you have any paperwork on you? No. Now listen, I'm going to jump in from time to time, but this young policeman is stepping on my civil
Mr.
right.
Charles Waters? He says that you're,
Yeah, he's
You're
Jackie
constantly-
Mack's buddy. He's Jackie Mack's buddy. You've got the camera running on me now, right?
Hmm?
Okay, we're on camera? All right. Are you taking me in? Are you
I'm
here
just
to
trying
arrest me?
Listen. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. That's all.
Okay. I'm here so that we can get you talking. I don't have any paperwork on me. I don't have a formal complaint. I don't have any kind of a warrant. At this time, me being naive, stupid, a baby boomer that had respect for the police, I've always had respect for the police. I didn't know these techniques were being used. Since the police now have the ability to record you and video you, they have the choice now. This policeman, when he got the complaint from Charlie Waters, he didn't go to Charlie Waters and put him on camera. Charlie Waters says, go out and knock on this guy's door, get him talking. If you can get him talking, we'll find out where he's coming from. Okay, Charlie Waters is a board member.
Okay.
He is Jackie Mack's best friend
Okay.
on the board.
Okay.
Charlie Waters has given Jackie Mack's favorite charity over the years probably $100,000 from the golf course, because he's the treasurer
Okay.
of the HOA.
Okay.
Him and I disagree a lot on the way the HOA is run.
All right.
All right? This isn't the first time. Every time I go to the HOA, I'm not allowed to talk. He asked what happened yesterday in a meeting. I went to the board meeting, and I'm going to request a video of this too.
Absolutely.
What I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Right? He's given me an invitation now to tell my story. And if
Okay.
you stand there as long as you want to stand there and listen.
Well, I'm on until 3 o'clock, so.
Okay. Well, here's what happened. I went to a board meeting. I was invited to go to a board meeting.
Okay.
It says this is a board meeting that you can attend and observe.
Okay.
I went. All the board members were there and the manager. Me and another person were the only civilians in the room.
Okay.
Well, there was two others, plus the architectural committee. Okay?
Right?
All right. Now, as you see, I'm trying to be an adult with this young man. I had the right not to open the door. I had the right to put a camera on this policeman. I had the right to tell him to get off my property. This policeman is there for one reason. For one reason. To find out everything that's going on with me and the HOA so he can take this video back to a strategy, a skull session. He took this video, which is almost a half an hour long he spent on my property. He came there with no paperwork, no warrant. All he had was hearsay evidence. He never went to Charlie Waters and interviewed him. This is, like I said, a knock and talk. It's a technique that the police use in Arizona. As I was getting back to the fact that now that the police have cameras and they can record video and audio, they don't tell you. They don't tell you when you come up, when they come up to their house. They don't tell you. I established early with you have a camera on me, right? Yeah, okay. And that's why I was trying to be as adult as possible. But this young man just kept accusing me of harassing Charlie Waters, and I wasn't harassing Charlie Waters. I've never harassed Charlie Waters. I've tried to have adult conversations with Charlie Waters because Charlie Waters is the most senior person on the board of directors, or he was. He was the first one elected to the board. He was their franchise player. Okay? The team, the whole HOA board board team was built around Charlie Waters. He was going to be their franchise player. Okay? Immune. So because of that, he had to be immune from any policeman ever going up and putting him on camera and making false accusations. If Charlie Waters would have been on camera and made an accusation against me that was wrong and I could prove it, I could get him for defamation. The police force here in Buckeye made sure that Charlie Waters is never going to be put in a position where on camera he could be caught defaming or lying about somebody. Okay? This policeman is out of line. It was quite a long meeting. It lasted about 3 hours. When they took a break after about an hour and a half, they took a break to go to the bathroom. Well, the other people left. I stayed.
All right.
I was the only civilian in the room, the only member who wasn't a board member. And I listened to them hash out a lot of information. When they broke the meeting up, Charlie Waters invited me, since I had been sitting there. Charlie says, "Did you have something that you would like to say?" The meeting was broke up. The manager was gone and half the board members. So there was only 4 board members in the room and me.
Okay.
All right, I was trying to get a point across to the architectural about an architectural issue I had with my gutters last year.
Okay.
I was trying to clarify when they send me a letter saying that I'm approved for an architectural committee, that I'm approved to do something.
Okay.
That's a legal document. If you send me that letter, it's a legal document. It's a standalone legal document. It's on your paperwork. It says you're approved to put the gutters on because you have applied. I went to the meeting. In the meeting, they told me you're approved. A week later, I got the letter saying you're approved.
Okay.
Now, if you want to step out here, and I'll show you what took place during that month and a half. Do you see how hospitable I was trying to be to this policeman? I wasn't being aggressive. I wasn't being hard to deal with. He wanted to know what was going on with me and Charlie Waters. He had no right to walk onto my property. This is, like I said, it's a technique now that they have when they know they have a camera. They get you to start. They knock and then you talk. I should have refused this young policeman right from the start. The moment he knocked onto my door, should have said, "What do you have? Do you have a warrant? No. Then get off my property. You have no business walking up to my door, knocking onto my door without a warrant. You don't have a valid reason. You're coming here with hearsay evidence." We could go through this whole thing and I could tie you up for the next half an hour watching it. But what happened here was this policeman was dispatched to my house without a warrant, without a paper. He didn't even interview Charlie Waters, and he came up and kept accusing me. Every time the conversation would slow down, he'd say, "Well, I just wanted to let you know, you don't harass Charlie Waters. Quit harassing Charlie Waters." When they got this tape or this video back, the first thing they did is, like I said, they had a skull session. I figured the mayor, the board of directors, the HOA manager, they all watched this tape, and I didn't think I was out of line. The police were out of line. I got my civil rights trampled that morning by a young cop that was out here fishing. And when I asked the policeman, "Where are you from?" instead of telling me someplace in America, he said, "I'm from Europe." I'm dealing with a European policeman on the Buckeye Police Department who is trampling my civil rights. He had no right to accuse me of what I said to Charlie Waters if he didn't put Charlie Waters on camera. It was made a decision by the Buckeye Police Department. We're not going to put Charlie Waters on camera. We're not going to park police cars in front of his house and put him on camera and make him make statements on camera, all right, about people in the HOA. I'm trying to get across, I haven't mentioned it much in this video, but this is HOA strategy. This is HOA polarization. The HOA and the police department working together to get rid of people or harass people, members who don't agree with them. I've had a disagreement with the board of directors for 19 years. Tract A in my parcel is supposed to be a multi-use, highest and best use access easement onto the golf course. It's supposed to have drainage, proper drainage. It's supposed to be paved correctly. It's not supposed to have vegetation growing within the tract, and it's supposed to be available for emergency ingress and egress for emergency vehicles. It hasn't been that way since they built it. They built it wrong, on purpose. They made an entitlement 20 years ago. They took the map that came out here and they modified it for the golf course. The reason when an engineer asked why they tampered with Tract A, the pipe in Tract A, he was given an answer that golf course redesign. Golf course redesign. What was the purpose of that redesign? They played capture the flag. This was grift. They stole it fair and square. Tract A has been out of compliance for 20 years. It's never been truly 100% in compliance. And because of my concerns over Tract A And but I'll stop here. Like I said, I could make you watch this whole 20-minute video. If you want to see it, just you can see the video. I have it raw video without me editing it like I'm doing now. But let's get along here further down and see what I was saying.
Not a shovel turn for
Okay,
over a year. So I started walking it. Now I'm from back east. I'm a New Yorker. I've lived in high density areas. New Yorkers take their access easements serious. Anybody from the back east, if you try to close an access easement that everybody uses, it isn't going to work. Except that
But let me explain this to you. I'm not here for any kind of HOA violations, nothing like that.
You're here to hear the story. What
I'm
happened
here
between me and Charlie? First of all, Charlie wasn't the object yesterday. It was another board member that really I had.
Regardless, so Mr. Waters basically, he doesn't want, he just doesn't want.
All right, you're going to hear, here he goes again. This is about the 10th time that he's told me that, Charlie, you leave Charlie Waters alone. You leave him alone. He had nothing, no warrant, nothing processed by the police department. What he had was, he was the third person in line to get this story.
I want you to keep harassing him.
Harassing him.
I understand if you're at a meeting and you have a question, that's a different story.
He
all right?
invited me in a meeting to speak.
Correct. I got that part.
This is my official.
But the thing is I'm asking you if you're making.
All right. This is ridiculous. Anybody that knows anything about civil rights, any civil rights lawyers out there, this is what goes on in an Arizona HOA. I went to a meeting. I heard too much. I saw too much. I know too much. Charlie Waters can't stand it. He knows that if I ever get a civil rights lawyer, if I could ever find an honest lawyer in Arizona, that I'd have a case. I'd have a case against the way they've treated Tract A. I've mentioned this before in other videos, but this is bucolic Midwest meeting an urban city dweller. I lived in San Francisco, I lived in Reno, I lived in Seattle, I've lived around Boston. Okay, I know what civil rights are, and I know what nomenclature is for communities. What happened 20 years ago is when that sophisticated urban plan that came out of North Phoenix 23 years ago, 24 years ago, who the engineers were applying MAG rules. MAG is like they're the community, the civil engineering rules for the whole valley. When that plan got out here to Buckeye, it got dismantled. The reason for the statement on one of the plans out here, the reason that pipe got extended and the reason Tract A got tampered with was because of golf course redesign. They reverse engineered everything out here. When the plan got here, all the lots that were supposed to drain onto the golf course don't drain onto the golf course. I'm trying to illuminate these facts to my neighbors, to other members of the HOA, and to the HOA public, anybody that's thinking about buying in an HOA. This Charlie Waters, the day after the meeting, called up the police, made several phone calls to the police, and finally got a policeman that would go along with him. I want you to send somebody out to his house and put him on camera for as long as it takes so we can find out how to defeat him. When we get this video back, we're going to decide what we're going to do to get rid of him. And they did. This video, when it got back to the city and was processed and seen by the HOA, I was immediately kicked out of the HOA. Immediately. I've been kicked out of the HOA for 7 years. For 7 years, I've been paying dues on 2 houses for about 4 years. And now for the last 3, I've been dealing with paying dues on 1. And this one house that I'm dealing with, or I'm paying dues on and I'm living in, was built wrong. On purpose. Okay? They made me the drain up here. You'll see it in other videos. But this young policeman, when I asked him where he was from, he said Europe. I guess in Europe they don't have civil rights like they do here. But my civil rights were trampled, and I had every right that morning to say, get off my property. Get off my property. Go get a warrant. I don't even want you standing on my stoop. Get off it. If you don't have a warrant, leave my property. Next time it will happen. And I keep a video camera at my front door. I do. Ever since these incidents, and I found out, it took me, I had over an hour and a half conversation with a policeman, approximately a month, 2 weeks or a month before this video. That video was, that conversation was about an hour and a half long or more. And during the whole time of that conversation, all that policeman did was, we had a term, I worked for an airline for years, and this airline, whenever they had somebody in the ranks that they thought that they would be management material, say he was a mechanic and you figured he was management material, every once in a while you can upgrade him to foreman 1 night a week to see how he works as a manager. Well, they had a school for potential managers in this airline, and it was called Charm School, where they take all these young recruits that may make an executive or be a manager, that their salary now, they're not union anymore. We send them to Charm School. And the purpose of Charm School is to teach these young managers how to slither like a snake up around you and put their arm around your shoulder during any incident. Anytime there's a safety incident, an accident, something that happens, it's inherent in the industry. You're not going to get away from it. There are accidents, there are mistakes. It happens every day. It's a beast. They've created a monster. And the purpose of Charm School is whenever there's an incident, and the company could be at fault, or we have to find a fall guy. We need to find a fall guy. Somebody to pin this on, okay? The purpose of Charm School was to teach these young managers that whenever there's an incident, be as friendly as you can with the mechanic or the person involved. Put your arm around him. Assure him. Keep him talking. Do whatever you can to make him comfortable so he starts talking. And the more he talks, the more you're going to have on him. So that by the time you get done and he's done trying to defend himself and he feels very comfortable that you're actually listening, that you actually care, that you're going to help him by being his buddy, no. You're only doing that to get as much information out of him as possible so that you can hang him later. And that's what I'm talking about here. This was what is classically known, I found out a couple of days ago by watching some civil rights videos, that this is called a knock and talk. A knock and talk. We want to find out what motivates him, what his plans are, what his strategy is, how he thinks. Is he ever going to accept that access easement the way it is now? Never. Okay? My key card was pulled less than a week after this video was made. And like I said, this policeman came up to my house with nothing but hearsay evidence. And Charlie Waters is someone who gave, I've got it on paper, he's given the mayor's favorite charity over $30,000 a year. For a number of years, he made one statement right after I got arrested. That was another thing. I got arrested by the Buckeye Police Department for missing a court date that I never knew about. I've been demonstrating against the way Tract A is being handled out here, or the way it's being presented to the community here. It's being presented as a closed easement. Nobody can use it. It's supposed to drain. It doesn't drain. It's a wet area. Okay? Every time they put me on camera, they use this evidence against me. Now, this is the Buckeye Police Department, who are very polarized and very sympathetic to the HOA. They work hand in hand. The HOA gives the mayor money every year from the golf course, and the mayor gives the HOA immunity from being put on camera. The supervisor, the first person that took the call from Charlie Waters, and that call was all false witness. I was doing this, I was doing that, I was doing that. No, I wasn't. I was sitting through the meeting quietly. They couldn't stand it. They wanted to go into executive session, as, like I said in this film here. When they all came back at halftime and I was still sitting there, like I said, Caroline Clinton, the first thing out of her mouth was, we can't talk about what we were going to talk about. We're not alone. We can't go into executive session. All right? That's why I have this policeman at my door. Charlie Waters never wanted to see me in another meeting, and he hasn't. Like I said, I've been kicked out for 7 years. And now I'm being sued. And during that 7 years, they've installed a $100 a day fine on me. No warning. No letter. No letter. They don't have one receipt that I've signed for a letter from them that they decided to put a $100 a day fine on me. I was totally shocked when they did that. But this was, looks like the 8th of November, 2016. So I've been kicked out of the HOA since about the 15th of November. I have a letter. She sent me a letter. You're kicked out of the HOA. All right? Because I went to a meeting. And I sat through what they expected. They were going to go into executive session because I was there. They couldn't. And Charlie Waters used his influence. He bought the police department. He bought the police department by giving Jackie Mack's favorite charity for 3 or 4 years in a row approximately $30,000. And he was the treasurer of the HOA. And his statement when he made these donations was, we had a golf tournament that raised $30,000. Try to digest that. He's the treasurer of the HOA, and he's giving the town of Buckeye's mayor $30,000 a year. So that when he calls up the police department and drops a dime on me like in the old days, the police might immediately react. This is the polarization of the police department to work for the HOA. I'm going to stop here. This is Blood, Sweat, and Tears. You can find this video if you want to watch it in its entirety. Just put in my name in the YouTube and you'll stumble onto it. But this right here is police harassment. This is the police in collusion with the HOA to violate my civil rights. This young man had no right to come up and knock on my door. And from now on, any policeman, if they don't have a warrant, paperwork, or anything on them, they're going to be on my video, and I'm going to ask them to leave my property. And anybody that's involved with the HOA, especially this one here in Buckeye, Arizona, the Sundance Active Adult and all of Sundance HOA, they're in with the police. The HOA, when they come in here, the first thing they do is, like I said, the treasurer of the HOA is giving the town of Buckeye $30,000 a year. And the police department does exactly what they want. Go harass this member. Go put him on camera and let's find out. We're gonna dissect his brain when we get this video back. And this video, along with the video that was made about 2 weeks earlier or 3 weeks earlier, where I talked to the policeman for an hour and 40 minutes when they put rods and plugged up tract A. That was around October, September of 2016. I found out in that video that the police won't tell you. I talked to this policeman for about an hour and 40 minutes. He just let me go, encouraging me to talk. Encouraging me to talk. Okay? And I didn't know I was being recorded. And at the end, I was so proud of all the information that I had given to that policeman. I thought he was really interested. He wasn't interested at all. He was sitting there laughing internally at me for being so stupid to keep talking. And he kept encouraging me to talk, right? Agreeing with me and stuff like that. At the end, I was so proud of what I had been able to convey to the policeman, all this information about the tract, my lot, what they did to my lot, how they built my house out of compliance, that I asked the policeman, I said, I wish you would have recorded this. And he said, I did. He admitted to me right there, you've been on camera ever since I got here. He never told me. And when I asked him, that's not really fair. Do you consider that fair play? He says it's Arizona law. I, as a policeman, can put you on camera, record the audio, and I don't have to tell you. It's Arizona law. I was totally ambushed by it. That's why in the beginning of this video, the first thing I established was I'm on camera, right? Yeah. Well, I was never out of line. The whole time I was on camera. I understood that I was on camera the whole time, and I was doing my best to explain to this policeman why he was there. He was there to record my reaction. Like I said, classic police knock and talk. Go out there. If the guy has any respect for authority in the police, he'll talk to you. Not anymore. Not anymore. I was thrown in jail for 4 days by the Buckeye police for missing a court date I never knew about. And when I got out of jail 4 days later with diarrhea and everything, dehydrated, all messed up, A couple days later, on a Wednesday, I went into court, and the first thing this judge did was hold up my summons. When I admitted to him, Your Honor, I didn't intentionally miss a court date. I never knew about a court date. This judge, another person that's younger than me, who is operating out of cowboy law, this is cowboy law, right? Told me, he showed me my summons. I'm standing in front of a judge. I just got out of jail for missing a court date. All right, that I was a fugitive of the law. And when I got out of jail and I admitted I didn't know about a court date, if I would have known about a court date, I would have made the court date. And to have this young judge who actually signed my warrant, he signed the warrant to have me arrested, hold up my summons in front of me and say, we never mailed it to you. With no explanation. We never mailed it to you. Of course you didn't know about it. This is the Wild West Valley. The Wild West Valley. The West Valley, everything from about Litchfield Road west is MAGA, 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 Midwest, moron, not going to replace us, bucolic individuals. The day I got arrested, they threw me in the back of a car for about an hour while they had a Trump rally. Well, all the Midwesterners that lived in my parcel, they got on a phone and they called up everybody. And by the time the policeman hauled me out of here in handcuffs in the back of a car, they had a, you're not going to replace this bucolic Midwest Trump rally on the corner. And everybody was cheering. Okay? We don't need this urbanite among us. He thinks urban. He thinks this easement should be open to emergency vehicles. He thinks this easement should be open to the golf carts. He thinks this easement should drain property. And he also knows that we built this house to be a drainage easement. They built my house on purpose, out of compliance. And they made me the substitute drain above the golf course. That's an encumbrance on my lot. I can't sell my lot, I can't sell my house to anybody without telling them that they lowered the finished floor elevation, which affects the sewer pipes. Your house is out of compliance as far as the sewer utility. You have to pay a bill to the town of Buckeye every month for your sewer, water and sewer, and you have incorrect sewer pipes that were authorized 20 years ago to be built out of compliance by some moron engineer in downtown Buckeye. He signed off on lowering my finished floor elevation. The house is built wrong. It has an encumbrance on it that I have to tell any new owner. Your sewer pipes are out of compliance. And also they built your lot to store water. They tampered with all the elevations. They did that locally. They took the plan that came here from Phoenix 20, 25 years ago or 23 years ago, and they tampered with it. They did reverse engineering. All the lots north of the lake are supposed to drain onto the golf course. They don't. Mine didn't for like 10 years. For about 8 or 9 years, I watched lakes form around my house. And they had no way to drain off my lot because everything was built wrong. Thank you for listening. But remember, knock and talk. This is a technique used by the policemen now, the police, the FBI, anybody that has authority can walk up to your door, knock on your door with no warrant, no paperwork, no interview with the person charging you. Charlie Waters made a serious charge against me. He basically accused me of assaulting him. Every time I saw him, I assaulted him. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I was trying to get the truth out. And nobody in Buckeye or the HOA or the golf course wants to hear the truth about Tract A and my lot. No realtor will let me put on a disclosure that the house was built wrong. That when I pay my sewer bill to the town of Buckeye or the city of Buckeye, I'm paying for something I didn't get. I'm paying for a sewer system, a utility that's out of compliance, that I have to be careful with. I have to tell anybody that buys the house that you can't throw parties here. Make sure you don't use your garbage disposal. Make sure you don't use your dishwasher. Be careful when you take showers and your toilets, what you put down. Because I'm telling you up front, the house was built wrong. The sewer pipes are out of compliance. You're going to be paying a sewer bill to a town that illegally, 20 years ago, allowed the builder to lower your house out of compliance. And then they made me the drainage area. I'm going to stop now. I'll put this on YouTube. Right here. If you want to see this whole video, just put HOA employees knock and talk. Okay, I'm going to make another video. HOA employees knock and talk. Go to my name, Seward LaShawn, put it in the thing, and you will be able to see this whole interview in your entirety. But as somebody who has served in the military for 4 years, I got drafted in 1968, right after TET. I was one of the first people after TET. And let me tell you why. Walter Cronkite had more power than the president in 1968. Everybody watched Walter Cronkite. He was like the Messiah. Whatever he said resonated throughout the country. And 3 days after the Tet Offensive, Walter Cronkite took his glasses off, looked straight into the camera and says, "We can't win this war. This war is unwinnable. You've been telling us for a year that we're winning it, and we've had the Tet Offensive now, and it all blew up. We've lost hundreds, thousands of Americans." And he more or less told America 3 days after Tet that this war is not going to be won. It's unwinnable. And what happened about a week after that? President Johnson got on and said, we're going to draft 75,000 people. I've authorized Selective Service to draft 75,000 men and put them in uniform. We're not going to back down. We're going to escalate. We're going to escalate. And in about a month and a half, I was one of the first people drafted from my hometown. One of the first ones. And when you're drafted, There goes your 120-day deferment that you might have. Now, when I was drafted, the day I was drafted, I was in a meeting with two other young men who were classified 1A. That means that they could be drafted. And they were drafting like every week or 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks they'd draft some more people. And these two people from my hometown were offered, because they weren't drafted, they were offered the 120-day deferment. 120 days before you go in, we'll take 120 days off your enlistment. I was never offered that. You see, once you're drafted, it's too late. Like I said, I was one of the first ones drafted from my hometown. Okay? Now, when they built my house 20 years ago, I was drafted again. They included my house in the drainage plan for track day. My house was only 45 feet away from track day. They filled in track day and they took it out of service. They made it one of the highest elevations in the neighborhood. Then they lowered my house 2.5 inches and graded my lot so that it would hold water as a retention basin. Please, look at this video on your own. I've given you a little bit of it. But makes me sick to my stomach that some young policeman who grew up in Europe, who's in his 20s, was sent out here like a little Cub Scout, Cub Scout cadet, with no paperwork, no warning. And my mistake was I trusted the cops. My mistake is I'm a baby boomer that believes that everything is right, and I believe in the law and I believe in law enforcement. That's why I allowed him to talk to me, and that's why I tried to explain to him. It won't happen again. The next time a policeman shows up at my door with no warrant or no information, he's going to be asked to leave my property immediately. Thank you for listening. Remember this term. If you're an HOA member anywhere in any HOA, remember this. Knock and talk. A violation of your civil rights. Thank you for listening.